I completely forgot. I was going to tell you the 3 stories I'd managed to collect. The 3 weirdo stories after 3 years of driving cab at night. All right. Listen, chunkers, may want to take a break. So one of them seemed pretty genuine. One of them, I think I pressed the person a little too hard, so they may have been fucking with me. Not hard to do. A friend once complained to me that she said, "Jack, you're so damn gullible. I mean, if I said I was Spider-Man, would you believe me?" I told her, well, I mean, I'd asked to see a costume. Fantasy and reality, like I say, not even fantasy and reality. It's like the world away from me can be anything. I don't know until it gets confirmed to me somehow. So I don't know. Maybe she is Spider-Man. It sounds pretty shaky. Again, I'm not just gonna start, texting friends that, hey, I met Spider-Man. It's like, show me costume or prove it. Walk up a wall, sling some webs, man. Nah, I'm not that gullible. And the one from my friend, I think, is very genuine. He's sharply skeptical and verging on the edge of dismissive of anything, of most things weird, because he wants proof. He was a little bit shaken up by his. I'll get to tell his last. So the first one was pretty neat. Picked up this woman who was a barista. She was barista in kind of in the Pearl District, if you know that, in Portland. She late 20s, early 30s. It was really short rides. So she called me up to get a ride back home. Somewhere in the first ride, like I said, 10 minutes, it's a short ride. But one of us must have mentioned, like, Art Bell, Coast to Coast, something, Aliens, something. Now, when she called me later, I wasn't expecting anything, or maybe she had hinted at having a story or something. It was weird. She was saying, okay, listen, it's just weird, strange. I don't know what it was. Her and a friend, they're coming home one night to, like, her house or her parents' house or something, and in the front yard there's this, like, skinny little tree, not quite a sapling, definitely not a full-grown tree, just a skinny tree. And her and her friend, they both see that there's someone standing behind the tree. This person is really skinny. They're really skinny. They're not as skinny as the tree, and it's kind of like silly that they're kind of and they're looking sort of mortified, like they've been caught, like, and they're trying to, like, for all the world. The person also, big giant head, big giant eyes, but very human eyes, and her and her friend are both, just. But and I was like, well, why, what happened? She says, no, we just kind of just sort of let him be. I went in the house. And she was quick to say that she wasn't claiming that, she was entranced or somehow hypnotized by the thing, or even that she was necessarily saying that the damn thing was alien. So what are we talking about? Are we talking about, like, a weird mutant human, Boo Radley level, only running around at night because he looks so goddamn weird that he can't go out in public or he's gonna get mobbed, right? Big pumpkin-headed, saucer-eyed, skinny as a rail. Ooh, weird. Neat. Again, just neat. Like I say, that's done. That's not a 45-minute fucking story, though, is it? Vic. And the next one, okay, so the next one, same sort of thing. I had a kind of good rapport with this guy, and he's an older guy, and I think he's retired at this point because he used to be, or maybe currently a pilot still, because it was by the airport, and he just, like I say, really short ride to go out to a bar or something, and then he called me later, and he had mentioned that he was a FedEx pilot. And so I had a little time mulling that over, and when he called back, and I'm taking him back to, polite. I'm trying to be cool about it, but I finally, like, hey man, you're a FedEx pilot. Yeah. So where'd you fly? And he's all over the world. I'm like, all over the world. Yeah, why? You ever see anything weird up there? And he was just so dismissive. He was like, come on. Man, and I nudged just a little. It's like, come on, seriously. And he started to make up some, like, bullshit thing that, like, even if he did see, he couldn't say. But then he, then he said, okay, I'll tell you one thing. Okay. He said, out over the Indian Ocean, clear day. He's flying, like, fairly low, not super high. I don't know quite what that means, but, what, normal passenger planes go, 35,000 feet? He's somewhere below that. And he's flying over the ocean, middle of the Indian Ocean. And he said that suddenly, off in the distance, and he said something like, is 3 kilometers, 3 miles, something like that. And I asked him, like, that's that close enough to see? He said, yeah, so how big? He said, no, something, and I think he said something like, not even 50 feet, I think it was like 30 or 40 feet. Big, whatever this. And I said, okay, so, well, what did it look like? He said, no, like a flying saucer. I mean, he said it looked like burnished aluminum. That sort of he said a couple things. The only reason I even keep it in my brain, because, like I say, I got the feeling like, oh man, I pushed too hard. Maybe he's just fucking with me now. It's not even very original. It looks like a flying saucer, huh? But he said it looked like burnished aluminum, which was an interesting note. He says glinting in the sun. It was just very much cruising right along. Just ahead of him, you'd see it clear as day. And he said that the big thing that didn't make sense to him was that it was too small. Where does it keep its fuel? He said it was too small. Like, specifically, where does it keep its fuel? And I like that little note. I mentioned that to a friend who said immediately, said, it's a short-range fighter. Like I say, these aren't long stories. They're just these little blips. I say I'm very, very envious of. Now on to the one that I view as the most credible. My friend, who's living in Portland at the time, he lived up on. There's this big hill, and where OHSU is, big hospital. And it lives up on a hill that overlooks this town like Elsinore Castle, right? It's beautiful and live action Resident Evil going on up there all the time. But he was driving home through there's these back roads around it that go through sort of very woodsy sections, very spooky. He said that he described that it was two things. It was two animals, big animals. They were fighting. And they came, and he was driving along the road, and there's a sharp embankment, hooded, just densely wooded, and then it goes off on another densely wooded, like, sort of cliff-ish kind of situation. And he's driving, and into the field of his headlights come these two big, giant. I mean, they're at least as big as full-grown human adults, right? And so they tumble onto the road, just this mass. They're both covered in fur, and they bounce and roll off over the cliff. And I told him, well, look, I mean, okay, so is it possible that you said they're as big as human adults? Is it possible we're talking about like a couple people in, like, fursuits, or like so and he just stopped me and was like, Jack, these weren't people. Jesus Christ. again, he's a sharp guy. He can't pull out of the encounter what their form was. What the fuck did he see? Anyway, and again, that's it. That's it, Vic. That's all I got. 3 years. I need a better way to. I need a better way to find stories. Give me stories. Give me stories. I want to hear the weirdest shit you got. I'll tell you the weirdest shit I got. So, happy Gibbous Moon.